Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another FIFA 22 video where today I'm going to be sharing with you the most insane 5-back custom tactics that I have come across for me personally in FIFA 22. You will not believe how incredible these tactics are. I absolutely love them. And using the 5-back was one of my favorite formations not too long ago. Went away with it, experimented with some other formations, and I've just started using the 5-back again, and I can see why I absolutely loved it because it's just so much fun. And a lot of people think, oh, it's a 5-back, it's going to be really defensive. And the way we set it up is very, very offensive. It's very, very attacking. And, you know, regardless of results and whatnot, and we have had very good results. I've actually had my best 3 finishes this year have actually come from the 5-back. And actually, since I've started using some other formations, my results haven't been as good. So it shows how effective these tactics really are. And it's just fun. And if you want to have fun in FIFA, which is what it's all about, then you'll absolutely love these tactics and formations. So for me, when it comes to the 5-back, it's all about the fullbacks, those wing backs. I want to get those guys forwards. Those guys, I think, have to go forwards. I think, obviously, you can have them sit back and it just becomes a very defensive 5 at the back. But I love to get those wing backs bombing forwards, like when I was watching Inter last year when Antonio Conte was there. Or obviously Chelsea do it very well, and you know Liverpool do it very, very well. I love watching that. I love watching the fullbacks get forward and being part of the game. And so I've tried to replicate that with my tactics today, and these are the tactics that we've settled on. So defensive style, we've gone for balance. Now I don't think you can really press. I've experimented with this formation extensively, and from my experience, you can't really press effectively in a 5-back because obviously you start with 5 defenders. And on top of that, the midfield and the strikers are quite narrow, so there's always an easy ball out. So pressing just doesn't work in this formation. I wouldn't recommend it at all. Defensive width, we've gone to 45. Now, the reason why I've gone to 45 is because I would rather have my opponent have the ball out on the wing than in the middle of the pitch. You know, they're much less likely to, you know, unless they put a pinpoint cross in or something goes massively wrong, I'd rather them have the ball out on the wing. It's not very dangerous. It's very easy to defend, very easy to contain, than obviously have a massively open width. You know, if you have it on like 70 or 80, all that's going to do is open up the midfield. So I'd rather have it a little bit more compact defensively and let them have the ball out on the wing. On the depth, we've gone for around about 60. Now, this is because obviously the fullbacks I like to get the fullbacks forwards in this formation, as you'll see when we get to the instructions and whatnot, and as we discuss the formation further. But I like to have the depth a little bit higher because I like to, obviously, I like to dominate more of possession. I like to kind of try and almost trap my opponents in. Now, it does mean that on occasion, especially when the fullbacks get forward, you will get countered a little bit. But I think if that's going to happen anyway, and I think that generally happens no matter what. So you may as well just play on something you're comfortable with. And I find for me, yeah, I have the odd counter attack that happens, which is going to happen anyway. So I'm just going to have 60 on the depth, and I'm going to dominate possession regardless and accept that, yes, you will concede 1 or 2 counters. In terms of build-up play, pretty much my standard for every formation is slow build-up, because in this, you know, unless somebody's pressing you, unless somebody's playing constant pressure, slow build-up is the best way to play. Now, only if somebody is playing sort of constant pressure can slow build-up be an issue, because obviously all of your players are kind of going to come short and no one's going to be really moving too much. So obviously when somebody presses you, your players are quite static, and that's why sometimes you can lose possession. So unless somebody's playing constant pressure, slow build-up is just the best way to play. I just find that it's better to be careful with the ball than to kind of be reckless and just sort of be really chaotic and just spam the ball forwards. It's just not how I play. I like to have lots of possession, as I've alluded to. So playing slow build-up really, really works. It obviously strengthens the short passing game, as it says. And obviously your team takes a little bit longer to get build up and get up the pitch. However, once they do get up the pitch, obviously you've got up the pitch in good shape rather than just spamming the ball forwards and then you've got no options to do anything. In terms of chance creation, now this is the only thing that can be a little bit debatable. Now I've gone for direct passing, and this is when I had the most success with this formation, was on direct passing. But it was also the time when I probably would say I conceded the most goals, because when you have the direct passing, it means that when you get into the final third, your midfielders, your fullbacks, your strikers, your attacking mid, everybody makes runs in behind. And if there's one occasion where you don't play the pass, all sort of 5 of your players have run in behind, and now you have no one to pass the ball to, so you have to pass the ball back. So if somebody's pressing you, it can obviously lead to big issues because you're not going to have too many players back defensively. So that is the only thing that can go wrong with the direct passing. However, on the flip side, you score so many goals, you create so many chances. So if you're someone who's got good strikers, if you're very clinical at shooting, you're going to score a hatful of goals. But on occasion, when you don't play that pass forwards, you are going to find that you are going to be getting countered a little bit too much. Now, if that does happen, my recommendation would be to switch to possession, because this will allow you to obviously dominate the ball, but your players aren't going to be making as many runs in behind. And it does mean your team is kind of going to be in more shape. So you're not going to get countered, but you might find yourself not creating as many chances because you're not going to have as many players running in behind. And in terms of the width, which is the last interesting thing on this page, I've gone for 85. Now, I was playing on 100, but the one thing I found with playing on 100 was it does open the midfield up quite a lot. You know, obviously when you have your team wider, now it does mean that my fullbacks get stretched, which is what I like. I want them sort of on the byline, so obviously to stretch my opponent's team out, but it also then stretches my own midfield out. And obviously when you pair that with the direct passing, you can just be left wide open in the midfield. So I've dropped it down to 85 because I want to stick on direct passing. But if you want to go on possession, then I'd recommend putting the width up to 100, because you're not going to have as much issues when it comes to being countered, because your team's going to be in shape better. And in terms of the instructions, the two strikers, obviously we've got Gelson Martins, which he's an absolutely brilliant card. I'm sure you guys have done him. He's a monster. Got these guys both on stay central and get in behind. And that is because we do have the fullbacks getting forwards. So we do need the strikers, obviously, they can afford to stay central, because I don't need them to be on balanced width and potentially drift wide, because I've got the width coming from the fullback. So these guys can afford to just both stay in the middle, both be those goal poachers. They score lots of goals for me. And obviously, your strikers then can just focus on scoring the chances. We then got Bernardo Silva in the cam spot. Typical stuff for him. He's going to be on getting to the box for crosses to support those two strikers. And he's going to be on free roam. So sometimes he'll make runs beyond. Sometimes he'll drift out to the left to support Mendy. Sometimes he'll drift out to the right to support Hakimi. So he just drifts all over the place. You do need to make sure this guy has good dribbling. And you've got to make sure he's got good stamina as well, because he does get through a lot of running, Bernardo, which obviously he's got a good stamina anyway. In terms of the two midfielders with Verratti and Pogba, both of them on balanced, but they're on stay on edge of the box, because I don't want these guys getting into the box. I do want these guys just protecting any counters that may come. And the reason why we don't have these guys on stay back while attacking is because we are playing on direct passing. These guys will ignore the stay back while attacking instruction, and they'll just run forwards anyway. So if you're going to play on the direct passing, then you may as well just leave these guys on balance. If you are going to play on the possession, then you can have these guys on stay back while attacking if you want to be a little bit more conservative, and if you are conceding a few too many counters, then you can put these guys on stay back while attacking, but only if you are playing on the possession tactic. And then, as we said, the two fullbacks, we've got Mendy and Hakimi. Both of those guys are obviously going to be on balanced attack, but they're both going to be on overlap, just because I would rather them, being on overlap means that they're always going to stay wide. I don't want them on the mixed or in the inverted, because then they're going to be sort of making runs on the infield, and then we're going to have no width, and that defeats the whole purpose of the formation. The whole purpose of the formation is I want the fullbacks to get forwards, but I want them to always stay wide. I want them to always stay on the outside. Hence why we've got the width on 85. So if they're on, mixed or inverted, going to make runs in behind, it's going to become quite cluttered. And obviously then we've got no width to stretch our opponents out, because if they're being really defensive, obviously you need to use the width to exploit the space out there, pull some players out of position, and then you can use the space that you've created to then create the chances and potentially score the goals. And then obviously the centre-backs, Marquinhos, we've got Gerrard and Kimpembe obviously on stay back while attacking, and then Cech obviously on comes to crosses and sweeper keeper. So that is it for this 5-back formation. For me, the best 5-back formation in the game. I've tried all of them. Obviously, like the 5-4-1 is very much for defending. The 5-3-2 I didn't really like for me. It just didn't quite work for me. But the 5-2-1-2 is my favourite formation by a mile. I've had my best finishes in Weekend League, and it's probably the formation where I've had the most fun. So I absolutely would recommend this formation to anybody who just wants to try something a little bit different, a little bit out there. And I guarantee you'll have great success if you obviously use the instructions and the little tweaks that we've suggested throughout the video. So if you do enjoy this formation, let me know down in the comment section. Make sure you drop a thumbs up and subscribe as well if you are new to the channel. But that is all for today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.